All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm excited. Today we have Mr. Ryan Grubb with us. And Ryan Grubb, he is currently a counselor. He has background in Christian counseling. He's a former minister. And today you are an author and you wrote a book on, well, in poetry style. And the book is called Imagine Ability. And I'm excited to have you here to share your thoughts about the book, a little about yourself, of course, and just what you think is valuable with this book and what's important about it. And we know each other for some years now. I'm really excited about our friendship, of course, and all the things that you've been through. I really expect you in so many ways. So maybe just to open up, maybe you can just share briefly, what brought you to this stage in your life where you decided to write a book, and it's a poetry book.
Hey, Bobby, thanks for having me. I think, it's interesting because when I was younger, when I was like about 12 or 13, things like Michael Jackson and music and dancing and break dancing, which, for some that are going to see this on YouTube, like, what the heck is break dancing? Spinning on your head and doing those types of things. That was all stuff I loved. I love that artistic, theatrical. I love the idea of, thinking you were, winning a winning basket in your mind and doing it, or catching that ball over the fence in a baseball game. And so I think if you fast forward almost 38 years, because I was 50 last week.
Congratulations.
That's kind of part of where this idealism came from. Was when I was a kid, I was like, I can do anything I want. I can fulfill any type of dream. It was very theatrical, very creative. And I was kind of like a poet then. So the book is kind of a spin-off of that, plus all the things I've been through, plus all the things I've been able to have the opportunity to do in my career, from the ministry to being a therapist to working as a corporate trainer to coaching. They're all pretty relevant in this model of book. And for years I wanted to write a book, but now I'm like, I wrote one time and I'm like, I didn't like it. You write a book, you don't like it, you're not really going to sell it or put it on the market. So poetry is more of a way for me to communicate. It's like metaphoric in a sense. And that's kind of where this idea came from, with the different parts of my life, like where I've worked and the things I've seen and the things I've been through, the things I've succeeded in and the things I've had to work through. So
Right.
It's kind of
Okay. So would you say, the book is always written in poetry style. Is this book for anybody? Is it for, did you target a specific audience in terms of what they need, or who would you recommend the book for?
It's a good question. So poetry, when you hear the word poetry, some people go, oh my gosh, I'm not a Robert Frost dude. I'm not like, this, I'm not allowed to read that. I don't think like that. Or you think it's like these sonnets that are really hard and confusing to listen to. So let me help the audience out really quickly to let you know that if you like rhyming and rhythmic type of poetry that is simple to read, but you can take it in your own relevancy, you'll like this. And so the book is written in a sense of poetic, style, with narratives and self-development, reflective type things added. So it's for anybody. If you are going through a relationship issue, if you have problems thinking about good things, like you have a lot of anxiety, maybe you are looking to change careers, or you're not sure what you want out of life. It could be the fact that you're overweight, or you have illness, or maybe just want to improve your life. So it really can be for anyone who is looking for a simple way to understand themselves better. And so what I mean by that is poetry can be very, very deep, almost deep to the point where people don't understand it. Like you have to, Robert Frost is amazing, but I don't see people going, have you seen the latest Robert Frost book? It's amazing. I'm going to read it. It's going to help me. It's going to gain understanding. That's what I want. It's for anybody that wants to gain understanding and more credibility for themselves while doing it through a poetic style of writing.
Okay.
Hope that answered your question.
Right. So it sounds like, if I understood correctly, it's a book who provides value in terms of personal development, maybe learning about yourself and how you can overcome maybe some challenge that you're going through, whether that is physical, emotional. Is that sounds
Yeah. So to give you a little bit more crux about the book, um, the poems are supported by narratives, and these narratives are narrations about me. This is the first book I've ever written when it comes to any type of writing, authorship. And so I thought was if I write a poem that people can read and relate to, and then I can have a story that they can read and relate to, and then give them some semblance of ways to unpack that without feeling overwhelmed, then it gives them a sense of, hey, they're reading something that's great, that's easy to read, that makes sense, but then it also challenges their mindset.
Okay. Okay. Sounds interesting. And the title, Imagine Ability. How'd you come up with that? And what does that refer to?
I stole it. No, so I stole it. No, so if you think about the identity, and when you read the book and you get the book on Amazon, you're going to see a light bulb in the middle of the page. You're going to see somebody's hand like this, holding the light bulb, like, "Hey, come on! Here's your opportunity to think really good." Imaginability. A lot of us can be fanatical and fantasize, but we don't put it into actual action. So the book is messaging, hey, imagination, we're able to imagine what we really want.
Mhm.
We're able to imagine where we really want to go. And people say, well, how do you do that? Well, that's the point. Our minds sometimes are so full and foggy with life and the future and the past and the what ifs and the assumptions, and if only I was like this guy, or only I was like that person, or gosh, how come my life wouldn't turn out this way or that way? And we're all guilty of it, including myself. Then the idea of imaginability is you can imagine whatever you want. And there was an old statement by, well, not an old statement, but it's a statement by a guy named William James. He was a psychologist back in Harvard in like the early 1900s. He said, what you think about is what you'll become. So if you think about the things you want, and then you able that imagination, that picture to come in, and you start to really believe it's there in the present. The idea is you can shift anything you want.
Right.
You can make those shifts inside of your own internal embodiment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the imaginability title came from. But the other part of it is people have to act. You'll watch the Super Bowl tomorrow night, and everybody will see these commercials like, oh, that's so awesome. Or they'll see a commercial for the Virginia lottery or a lottery, and they'll go, oh, I wish I could win the lottery. But they don't have any idea what they would do with the money. Next thing you know, they get it and they're bankrupt. So it's the idea of taking responsibility for your imagination and enabling it to give you what you want.
I love that. That's really neat. Made me think of I think it was Einstein who said, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. And we were talking a little before, we got on recording, but in my profession, we were talking, I see from my experience, from my viewpoint and from my observation that people, it seems like aren't imagining as much anymore. Like their kind of mental state is very dull for a lot of people. I think partly it's part of social media. And even what you mentioned that, people don't even know what they want. And I think this sounds like such a fascinating topic. I think I know for myself, like I've just become a student of this idea of really trying to work on your mind and have a conscious goal and also a conscious awareness of your subconscious mind and really trying to shift that. So it sounds really exciting. If people want to get a hold of this book, what's the best way?
Well, the idea, the launch itself is going to be, we're shooting for next weekend. So
okay.
The 19th and the 20th is the launch. It'll be on Amazon. It'll be a paperback book. We're not sure exactly what the price is going to be. It's probably going to be between, I would say, somewhere between $13 and $17.
Okay.
So not too expensive.
Right.
There'll be an ebook version too, but you won't be able to. I mean, it would be better to get the paperback so you can actually have a copy of it. But it'll be on Amazon.
Okay.
That's the idea. If for some reason you want to find out more about it before then, you want to talk to me about the book itself more, you can just email me at ryangrubb@realstuffrealchange.com. You can Facebook me, you can message me, whatever. But that's where it's going to be. It's going to be on Amazon. That's where the illustrations in the book will be. Have illustrations in it also to relate to the actual poetry work.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's
yeah, and I'll put your contact info in the
sure. Sounds good.
Yeah, in the bottom as well. So before I let you guys, this channel is called Wake Up, and the subtitle is think, grow, and contribute. So I know that you're a thinker, from our relation, of course. I know you have a desire to grow. So if you were to give some type of advice, to the listeners, as far as like, what do you think that it is important for people to think about that will help them grow as an individual? And because of their growth, they will contribute. They will contribute to themselves, their family, their community, and hopefully as a society as a whole. Like, what would you say, one or two things that you feel like this will be, I think this is important for people to think about that will help them grow?
What do you keep doing that gives you the same result without any change? Is one thing it's a simple statement.
Mm-hmm.
I say all the time, well, I want to do this, but I can't. And I'm like, why not? So the thought behind that is like, why are you thinking like that? That requires you to take some time to become aware of it. That's the first thing. And I think the second thing is, have you thought about how you allow the circumstances around you dictate the entirety of your internal perception? So these are two things I think are very important, because from my own experiences, learning not to allow people to tell me what to do in my own mindset from failures or things I've gone through, learning how to be able to be okay with whatever happened without it letting it affect me is huge. So those are the two areas I would really consider, because when you read this book or you do anything else, without awareness, without conscious awareness, nothing else really will change. You may have a little bit of change, but you won't have a ton of change. You won't have enough to make a difference. So that's my advice, is really giving yourself the time to be aware and learning how to do it. And that's kind of why I wrote this book, because I feel like so many people need that help.
Right.
So many people need that help.
That's great. I appreciate that. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I'm excited about the book. I'm definitely gonna read it, and excited for what's gonna come out of it. And appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here. And like I said, I'll put your contact info in the bottom as well. So if you want to learn more about the book or some of the services that you provide, they can contact you through that.
Sounds good. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Take care.